You're now entering the Luxecore Studios. And you've secured a seat for the Protecting Your Radius podcast. Here, we build connections from your contracting profession to some of the top bleeding edge products and services. Don't get deterred. Let's not delay. Here is your host, Nathan Downs.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Protecting Your Radius podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Downs, and on today's episode, we are talking about stain. Seems to be a massively hot topic going around the industry right now, specifically because so many fence companies are looking for supplemental ways to help the bottom line, to work with, just expanding their businesses. And fence staining is a natural, simple way to do that. Now, over at Radius, we have a couple different trains of thought with the whole fence stain situation. I've got a guy that is doing staining on site for us now. He actually did a 500-foot front and back side job a couple weeks ago. Really cool cat. Just again, wasn't completely interested in doing that yet through the company because of liability reasons and stuff. And we've all heard that, right? Everyone's talked about that. But specifically because I hadn't invested or learned enough about those things to do it in the field, we have been sold out for a couple years now on offering pre-stained products in our complete library of wood fences. So the bulkhead of wood fences that we do in Oklahoma, and specifically at Radius, for sure, we're using Western red cedar pickets. We're using Douglas fir 2x4 rails, and then we're using steel posts or something. If we do cap and trim, it's all going to be Western red cedar, et cetera. So really trying to elevate that end of what we're doing today to day. We don't do any treated products. They just perform so poorly here in Oklahoma because of the humidity. In May's every year, all month long in May, it rains. And then we go for a 5-month drought through the summer. It'll rain a couple times, but it is blazing hot down here. And we're all used to it, but that poor wood just gets tore up. So staining is a great way to preserve the wood. We've all been talking about different things. We're going to have an episode coming up here in the future with one of our partners, Wood Defender, from their headquarters down there in Dallas, Texas area, Mansfield, actually. But the DFW Metroplex and what they're doing, where they're going with a lot of their stains, how they've continued to evolve the formulas and everything in each one of their products just to continue to create that superior premium oil-based stain solution that doesn't have to be backbrushed, that self-levels, that does all these things that we expected to do. But how we've done that and utilized that stuff over the years is with our other partners over at FenceTrac. We have a FenceTrac machine. We run that thing. It stains all of our wood. And it allows, again, my big thing with the pre-staining, and especially the staining machines, it allows us in a short period of time to get more done and more efficiently. The big thing that I've enjoyed about seeing with the FenceTrac machine is how, as you're running it through the machine, everything's getting flood coated. All of the jets and everything are doing that, recirculating, so we have almost minimal waste. You can touch the boards immediately upon the brush down and everything that's going on through the system. And the drying times are minimal at best. I mean, you can literally stack these boards up and they're ready to bundle, or even sometimes we do actually pre-stack them in a bundle configuration immediately because of how the system runs everything through so efficiently, and you don't have all that excess stain. And the waste was my big thing over time, where I was really feeling the pinch on the dollars, was whether it was the first couple times we did spraying with a lot of overspray and then dealing with that mess. But on top of that, just the wasted particles through the air and everything You don't get any of that. When you're doing flood coat, when you're back brushing and doing all that in the machine, it takes care of everything for you. So nothing new, nothing completely revolutionary about it, except with Dwayne and Cliff's system at FenceTrac, because everything has that automated feel to it. You're able to run that thing non-freaking stop all the time, and the footprint is minimal at best compared to some of the other applications, compared to a dump tank and all these other things that you could do as an alternative. So, I got a couple case study like ideas, things that we've been working on and showing how we've been having success with our pre-stained applications, and specifically utilizing our Wood Defender color chart and our whole catalog that we're offering with that, and the FenceTrac machine, how we're jamming those things out and getting them out there. We have one project that we're currently working on where we're using a FenceTrac high planes system. So FenceTrac high planes, I've actually got a sample. If you're listening, you're totally missing it. So FenceTrac high planes, FenceTrac high planes. See that aluminum channel? A patented aluminum channel that allows us to put something like these 2x6 cedar boards in line in that thing, give that rustic feel, but then give the longevity and the structural stability of a heavy duty aluminum extrusion here. I mean, these things are dadgum thick. You know, I want to run something into them. Hey, Brett, over at the new shop, I think I might want to run my Bronco into a panel and just to see what happens. Okay. No, I don't think I'm going to run my Bronco. Well, maybe I might. Anyways, side note. But we've got a system just like what I showed you guys. So if you haven't seen this, hop over to YouTube. Check us out at @radius_podcast. You can find this video and all of them from the beginning of the advent of the show, January 2nd, 2023. So last couple months, right? But we've got a project with FenceTrac high planes, and we're doing a 5 foot tall 5-rail application, and the customer wanted the Wood Defender redwood color. Really cool contrast with that reddish brown and those black high planes posts. And we're going to do his fronts, everything. But this is a sizable investment. But it made sense for the client because of what we're doing with the pre-staining. So we got the redwood, ran it through the machines, ran all the 2x6x16s as fast as we could. No time, got that done. Immediately after, worked on the machine, broke the thing down, cleaned it out real quick, right back up and running into a 300-foot, 8-foot tall cap and trim job that was pre-stained with Cape Cod from Wood Defender. Now, I will get some pictures of this because Cape Cod seems like not a super popular color, but I could see if I was someone that had a fence up in the New England area, I appreciate that they called it Cape Cod because it literally on cedar reminds me of Maine or Massachusetts or something like that. It reminds me of the Atlantic Ocean. Totally appropriate name with the Cape Cod color. But really cool setup. The customer we were working through. So to kind of give you an idea on how I sell something like that, the customer had some different options. They were looking at things, and we were on the house, and they've got, like probably $800,000, 4,000 square foot house. The yard, this guy is a golf pro. He's retired, but he was a golf pro, like PGA level. And his yard is fescue, manicured, gorgeous. I mean, in this neighborhood, it looks like, the house is French country. It looks like it doesn't belong in Oklahoma. Like very cool rolling yard with the grass and the trees and all that stuff like that. Real legit. So the fence has to be, it just can't be normal or it can't be crappy. It has to be quality. It has to, fit that aesthetic. So we were looking at the house, lots of earth tones, some red, dark red, brown brick everywhere. Over time, of course, all of the gutters and everything were a bronze color, like a dark bronze. And then they had some accents on the house with some corbels and different like copper toppers and stuff, but they were painted, or it looked like they were powder coated black. And then they had a black custom wrought iron fence, actual wrought iron, okay, real wrought iron. They had that across the front. So they need privacy from the neighbor behind, which is hence where this 8-foot cap and trim fence is going. And we looked at colors, and at first I mentioned to him, kind of complimenting the house. Oftentimes, I'll make a recommendation to match the gutters or the trim or something, just to kind of like tie it in together. The problem was they didn't want it dark, right? And the existing fence color was beige. So someone had painted this thing before he bought the house. Someone had painted this daggum thing beige, but they painted it. It was definitely latex. It was not a stain. It was a paint. So as many of us have seen out there in the market, you go up to it and the wood is completely rotted on the inside, but on the outside, the latex paint is like what's holding the wood fibers together. So you're just pressing your finger through it. And I was showing him, I said, man, because he was kind of talking, maybe we might repair this thing. No, there's no repairing. This thing's dead. We're dead. We're done here. Tear it out. All new. Here's what we got to do. So that beige color was kind of playing into it, but they were so used to it. They're like, well, what's a compliment to get off of that beige and get it back in our in our palette that would be good with the house, but not match? I said, okay, because a lot of people, as I mentioned, want to match the gutters or some other wood feature on their house, which I would too. It makes sense. I did not do that at my own house. I actually matched the neighbors because they paid for the staining, and because I built the fence, they stained everything. I think they ended up doing like a goldenrod color, like almost like a honey look. That don't match my house at all, but nonetheless, it was free stain. So what did I care, right? So on this one, that's where we kind of came back to the Cape Cod color. Did a couple samples, really wanted to show them what that stuff would look like so we can make a competent, intelligent decision about, is the Cape Cod with that grayish look, is that going to be the right tone, or do we need to go darker? We went with the Cape Cod. So soon enough on our Instagram and Facebook feeds for our company, we'll have pictures of that guy, and it is a slick setup. Man, it's a good looking house. Really super cool customer. It's taking a little bit of time, but nonetheless, the big thing now that we're there, we're getting ready to put it in this next week. Having all that wood pre-stained, just sitting out there, just looking pretty, ready to go in. It's exciting. And if you haven't done pre-stain before, you really need to check it out and get into that space, because the ease of use is the biggest thing. And I contend, for sure, having a system like a FenceTrac machine that is powered, that has all these things just to chug the thing along and get more efficient. We're not having to pick up buckets and fill tanks and all that stuff. Nah, we just put the bucket down, stick the intake for the pump in there, and it does everything else. And then you put the reclamator hose back in there. Super cool, just that system. And then as you get down to the bucket, you get the next bucket in and the next bucket, and you're not having to pick it up and pour things in stuff or fill up a vat tank and then unfill a vat tank. And there's so many different ways you can do it. But I would say try to do it where you don't have to break your back or spend a ton of time, because the cleanup and tear down time of it too is something you have to take into account. And we have to take that into account in how we price the job as well, for sure. So check that out. We love the all of our wood defender colors that we use. We absolutely love them. We have a lot of pictures.
For over 30 years, Southwest Automated Security has been the premier provider of gate operators, access controls, CCTV, and so much more. Visit southwestautomated.com today, taking dealers to the next level.
Pictures on our website that you could check out showing all of the different options with some of the stains that we've done in the past, pre-staining and stuff. I think even our main couple pictures on our website at www.radiusfence.com. I'm almost certain there's some coffee browns, some sable browns on there. There was a cedar tone or two. So we don't do a lot of staining, but it has continued to pick up. But that also goes into the fact of, if you're interested in this stuff, start talking about it. Even if it's something that, you may think that your client base may not be interested in this or really see value in it. Just having the information there, and I would say to be able to talk to them quickly about it is the most important thing. Yesterday, I did an estimate and they said, do you do staining? I said, tell you what, I just sent you the price on this fence. It was $6,000, right? And I said, I think the stain, I said, oh, let me do a little math here real quick. Oh, the stain's going to be about $1,400 if you wanted to add that on there. Oh, okay. And I said, now, cool thing for you is that stain includes all of the stain and the labor to do it. You don't have to do anything. Because the husband's retired, and he was immediately telling me, well, I might want to stain it myself and everything. Well, we did a little bit of math, showed him how many buckets of stain he would need, so on. And he said, just go ahead and add that estimate into the other one. And this morning, before I got in the studio here, I saw the emails coming in from them that they want to do the fence and stain. So go figure, right? After all that, they're literally rolling right into it. But I wasn't trying to sell the stain. I had the information there in my hands to where I could quickly get that back to them in the moment. Oh, it's going to cost this much. Bam, done. What do you think? And not surprisingly to me, but surprisingly to some other people, they immediately picked up on it because it was already something that they intended to do, that they desired to do. I was just meeting them in the middle, connecting those pieces together. And that's so much of what we do in construction and design. When you're doing any type of design builds, your recommendations, I love when people say, well, you're the professional. What would you do? And I immediately respond. I probably do it every time just out of habit of doing it now. I said, all right, well, if this was my house, this is what I would do. And then I'll say my piece. What I see immediately, what expectations. But if I don't have the right information up front for what they're looking for, I'll clarify that. Well, I could tell you what I would do, but I want to know what your motivation behind this is. Like, are we trying to keep a dog in the yard, or is this for your grandkids, or do you hate that neighbor? I mean, what are we doing? Like, why are we even doing this? What's the thought process? And then I can make a proper recommendation off of, if it was my house and I was putting myself in your shoes, this is what I would do. And knowing for sure now, after seeing our fences that we've stained and the fences that we haven't stained, the value of a good quality oil-based stain, water-based stain's fine too, but really that oil-based stain in your privacy fence is 100% worth the cost that it would take to get that done. And you get the added value, the added benefit of having the aesthetics change, and you can control all of that over time. Now there's some maintenance involved. We're looking at some different options with maintenance plans. I know a lot of people are talking about that all the time. We're seeing stuff on the Facebook groups and Instagram where people are saying, hey, does anybody have a, staining maintenance agreement or something like that that I could borrow or steal from you? And there's a lot of synergy happening around those things. And I think it's going to continue to move and grow and everything. And no, it's good. It's good for each of us, but it's really good for our installations and providing something of residual income that can continue coming down from a business perspective. Now, the advantage for every client out there that's watching this or listening to any of this content is staining a wood fence 100% increases the longevity of that wood. There is a protecting factor of the oil in the stain itself, but in the oil in the wood and all of those things, you're keeping that intact. You're reducing the mildew and the mold buildup. That's what gives you that gray color in cedar, right? So you're reducing all those things. You're keeping that at bay for a longer period of time. Of course, your wood is going to last longer. It's just going to give it that extra layer of protection. That there's just really no other way to do it. That, and side note, and we'll talk more about this with the real pros, like the Wood Defender guys and gals, but don't put Thompson water sealer on your dadgum cedar. That is, just don't do it. Just stop. I don't see any professionals saying that, but I always see like a handyman or someone like, putting Thompson water sealer on this thing. And I'm just like, guys, don't do that. Just don't. That cedar wants to breathe. It's very porous. It wants to bring all the water in and expel all the water out all the time. And that's why these oil-based stains are so great, because they don't create that barrier around the wood fibers and stuff. So it allows that breathing to continue to happen naturally, which is what we want. So anyways, I'm not the expert on that. So I'm going to name this episode the Not Staining Guy Expert Show. You got to talk to like everybody but me, a Roy Branch, a Kenny Dugan, some of these other guys, Caleb Roth, anybody but me, for sure about the stain thing. But if you're looking for those quality stains, if you're looking to connect those things, Master Halcos all over the United States have your Wood Defender buckets, gallons, 5 gallons, drums, whatever you need. They've got them available. They can bring them in. You can contact Wood Defender direct. Check those guys and gals out. There's so much there. And you've got to be using high quality products in that stuff. Don't just go get some run of the mill, Keller Moore stain that's water based. And again, nothing against those brands, but so many people immediately want to navigate and just go towards those things. And there's so many other vendors out there that have good quality products. Some of them are super cheap. And the quality is just a different grade. But I would say for what we get for the cost and the value, all of our Wood Defender pre-stain installs and the ones that we're doing out in the field, they just look better for a longer period of time, and they dry. I saw one stain that never dried on a fence, and I was like, okay, and it wasn't too big of a deal till their kids got out there and they were playing soccer, and there was soccer ball marks and handprints on the fence, and you're like, well, how did that happen? And at first, it was probably because they had come back over while the stain was still wet. But then I thought about that. I was like, the stain's still wet? I haven't really ever seen that happen before to that level. Well, then literally saw that the stain was still wet. It never dried. It didn't have any agents in it to eliminate that from happening. So you could still, a couple months later, go up to the fence and put your hand on it, and you would have oil all over your hand. But the problem was the pigmentation was coming with it. So all of these things, talk to professional wood care providers, contact Wood Defender. Roy Branch is my outside sales rep that covers Oklahoma and stuff like that. But there's so many people that have knowledge and experience in this. And again, Master Halco carries the Wood Defender brand. So most of your local Master Halco branches can answer questions about this stuff or get the literature in your hands to kind of move these things along. So love that. Hopefully we will, like I said, keep an eye out on our Facebook page for these pictures to see how they turned out, to see our FenceTrac machine in action, staining the stuff. I mean, we are ramming the wood through these things as fast as we can. I would just like to point out, I hope some of these customers start choosing the same color, because that would be awesome to get a bunch of them done at the same time. But unfortunately, most people want a different color. which is why we use the StainTrac machine, because that thing is freaking easy to disassemble and reassemble and clean quickly. And I love that. I love that so much for the guys and for time, that we just aren't wasting a bunch of time sitting around or having to dump a whole tank out and do all this stuff like that. So anyways, hopefully that's valuable. Hopefully you guys get a little excited about what's coming down the pike when we're down at Wood Defender's headquarters doing an episode. And with that being said, if you have specific questions for Wood Defender, I would love for you guys to share those with us. Go to info@protectingyourradius.com, send an email there, or you can go in to protectingyourradius.com and fill out the form at the bottom. Tell us some of those questions, some of the things you want me to ask. I would love to get in the weeds, really press these people down there at Wood Defender to talk about where the industry's at, where it's going, the innovations that they're doing, and what's setting them apart from their competitors. And it's going to be a fun time. It's going to be a lot of fun, especially I've already got approval from them to kind of put the camera in some spots where some people have never seen before. So nothing that's going to give any trade secrets away, but we're going to be really freaking close. So I'll try to jimmy the camera as much up as they allow me to and stuff, but it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for that. And I'm excited to hear what questions you guys have about it. In the interim, keep on fencing, keep on staining. And we appreciate you guys being here. Peace.
You've been listening to the Protecting Your Radius podcast from the Luxecore Studios in Bixby, Oklahoma. Thanks for sticking around, and connect with us and all of our partners at www.protectingyourradius.com. We want to thank our premier partners. Luxecore, the newest line of premium quality composite infill to slide into your FenceTrac fence system. Frame your style today. Also, StainTrac, the world's first patented standalone stain machine. Utilizing flood coat technology, StainTrac covers boards, pickets, posts, and any type of dimensional wood you can think of. And what better way to use your StainTrac machine than to use the easy application Wood Defender family of stains. Wood Defender goes on easy and covers in one coat with no back brushing. And of course, the true power of our show is you, the listener. Please rate and review our show on whatever platform you consume this content. Your 5-star likes and reviews help other contractors get the message that we all want to be better and do better. And in the construction world, we can never forget that before you can be great, you've got to be good. Before you can be good, you've got to be bad. But before you can even be bad, you've got to try.